Shalom. Kol Halo Yahweh Ba'ashum Yahushua Ba'ashum Rakach Wadash. The bonds of the apostles, the bonds of the elders, the great millstone, rule well and touch his truth. Much respect to you brothers out there to preach his word in truth and sincerity. Throughout the four corners of earth, Tabernacle David, hope for electing the speckled bird. Shalom, shalom, shalom. So breaking news, those that have already seen it, but breaking news, right? The U.S. has bombed Iran, I believe, three nuclear facility sites, if I'm not mistaken, right? But I'm also seeing where, those were decoys, but, it all remains to be seen, right? In which I'm going to start off with this scripture right here. Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 1. To everything, there's a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven, right? All throughout earth, all throughout time, there's a season for this and that. As you read on down, there's a time for this, there's a time for that, right? You got to understand what season that you're in, right? As I get right here in Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And we are in the time of war, and war is going to escalate. And Jake is out here playing games, acting like nothing is going to pop off. Well, Jake is about to learn the hard way, right? Jake is about to get jacked up in these last days, man. I got this video right here, which I'm going to play. Salakia, it's a little effeminate as Jake in the military. So Salakia, just giving you fair warning. But as we know, when they give a certain type of meal to some of these soldiers out here, you know what time it is, right? So I'm going to play this real quick.
So much. I like a little of it.
Steak and lobster. You know what that means. We are going to war. To war we are going. I'm gonna eat good now.
Right, so anyways, make sure that's done playing. Hopefully it's done playing. All right. But yeah, we are in the time of war. War is going to escalate, right? It's only up from here. Yahweh Razah, hey, get this word. Make sure you staying on your P's and Q's doing what you're supposed to do, right? There's another video. However, I end up editing this video. I may put it before this or insert it here or whatever. But, these nuclear talks with Iran, in that video, it goes to show you that, Esau Edom has always not been a man of his word. Right? He's always been a covenant breaker.
Was to put maximum pressure on Iran. The president is seeking a new deal with Iran to ensure that it doesn't become a nuclear power. The only problem is Iran refuses to negotiate with the White House, and from their point of view, why should they? America has proven that its word is worthless. It previously signed a deal with Iran to loosen sanctions in exchange for giving up its nuclear ambitions. Then, a few years later, despite being in full compliance, the deal was torn up. In the following years, new deals were proposed, and with the new administration in the White House, progress has stalled completely. America's subsequent attacks on allies and threats to invade their territory has only made the United States an increasingly unreliable negotiator. So, Iran has demanded third-party talks over its nuclear program. The reason for this is that if it can get a third party, like Qatar or the UAE, to mediate talks, well then they'll become politically invested. Another betrayal by America will have political ramifications for the third nation as well. It's a strategic move to ensure the U.S. keeps its promises, especially now that its reputation on the global stage has taken a hit. For Washington, though, this seems like an insult, and so talks are currently being refused. Instead, the U.S. president has ordered a massive military buildup in anticipation of military action against Iran. In response, all of America's Middle Eastern allies and partners, save for Israel, have shut down their airspace to U.S. combat aircraft, limiting the routes by which U.S. warplanes could approach Iran. This dramatically increases the threat to American aviators, even those flying B-2 stealth bombers. It makes their approaches very predictable, allowing Iran to concentrate their air defenses in specific areas.
Right? The scriptures say, never trust thy enemy. This man is not to be trusted. And if I'm not mistaken, days ago, they were saying that they were not going to join in the war. Well, we know that Amalek is the head of Babylon the Great anyways. Amalek being the big noses, the Ishes, the Uz, the Uish, right? They control Babylon, right? They say go, they go, all right? They say jump, a Babylon is saying how high, right? And so as we see today, as of this recording, right, they end up joining in the war and bombing Iran, right? And so I'm going to get these scriptures real quick showing you that, this place has said that this is a Bible-believing country, but it's contrary to the ways of Yahweh Bashmi Shah, right? So I'm going to get this right here, Matthew 5 and verse 37. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, for whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil, right? The Lord wants you to be absolute in your answer, right? It's either yes or no, nothing in between. Anything in between is evil, right? You break your covenant, you say yes, but you really meant no, as wickedness, man. And once again, as you read in the scriptures, Sirach 12, right? Never trust thy enemy, right? Get this right here, Numbers 30 and verse 2. If a man vow a vow unto the Lord Yahweh Bashmi Shah, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word, you see? In the ancient world, especially in the ancient world, men will be a man of their word, man. But here in Babylon the Great, you see the wicked as ruler. He's not a man of his word, so a lot of these people are not a man of their word. Check this. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth, right? It's supposed to be a man of your word, man. And when you're in nuclear talks, using this as an example, right? You sign a contract or you sign a treaty, all right? But then you go back on your word, right? The people gonna look at you sideways like, hey, bro, you can't be trusted, right? But what does the scripture say? Never trust thy enemy. Like I said, this is just a quick hit. 2nd Ezra 16, verse 32, another classic scripture. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man travel through there. Check this. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. Why? In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Hey, over there in World War III, you enlisted in this military, most likely you are not coming back. And we just played a video of a feminine ass Jake. Hey, you belong there, man. You're going to die there, right? You are going to get destroyed. You ain't ready for that war. And if you are, let's say you are, all right? You are effeminate. You're going to get destroyed, right? No matter how many pull-ups and push-ups and how far you can run, right? The Lord sent, man's goings of the Lord. The Lord sent you over there for a reason, because, you are going to perish. A lot of these Jakes that are listening in this war, they're going to die. Hey, that's just plain and simple, man. But yeah, we're in the time of war, and Yahweh desires an edifying lesson. Shalom.